What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bryant Bulldogs Sports Hour on 990 WBOB, the number one radio program for all things Bryant Athletics. I'm Brian Kostiw reporting to you remotely. I'm joined alongside by Tom Harkness in our Sprout co-working studios. Tom, how you doing tonight?
Brian, I'm doing fantastic. I've heard you got a great show. I'm ready to get to it.
Absolutely, Tom. We have a jam-packed show on for you tonight. Coming up in just a few moments, we're going to be joined alongside by head men's basketball coach Jamion Christian. Then at 8:15, we'll have on women's basketball forward Nia Scott to break down her team's 2-0 start and preview their matchup against Marist on Tuesday night. At 8:30, we'll have on head football coach Chris Merritt to break down their program's first CAA win. And then in our final segment, we'll chat with head men's soccer coach Ruben Resendes to talk about his team's America East semifinal match this Wednesday. So, Tom, listen, it's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. Just in general, we have a ton to talk about. I'm really excited for everything tonight.
Yeah, Brian, I know that I had you on my program, Big Man Off Campus, was just wrapped up, and we talked about all the great things that you've got going on in the world of Smithfield, from the basketball, the football, men's and women's basketball, of course, and soccer, big postseason game on the horizon. So the floor is all yours, my friend. I'm at your command over here at our Sprout co-working studio.
Absolutely, Tom. All right, well, let's jump into our first guest of the night. They are brought to you by the Sprout Co-working phone lines. For all your co-working needs, large or small, visit sproutcoworking.com. Now on the Sprout Co-working phone line is head men's basketball coach Jamion Christian. Coach Christian, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Excited for the home opener versus Dartmouth at 8:30 on Wednesday.
Absolutely. Obviously, there's a ton of excitement there. I heard you, discuss it in that during your, media availability earlier this week. Just talk about what it's like, getting the chance to come home now and play in front of these fans. You had mentioned that, so many Bryant teams of past have had, have had the privilege of being able to play in front of such great fans. Just talk about the excitement that's going into that.
Well, I have the experience of being on the other sideline and understanding just how incredible this fan base is and how they support their team, with the intelligence of the fan base and with the just complete joy and how much fun they have during the games. So I can speak from existence about what it's like to be on the other side, and I'm just excited to have a great home court advantage. I know what that does for our team. I know what that does for how we want to play the game. It just elevates everything, and I really believe we're going to have the best home court advantage in the America East as they've had year in and year out.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, being here for some of those battles with Mount St. Mary's and Bryant back in the early 2010s, what are some maybe, some memories that, if there's a particular one that you can really reflect on from that time?
Well, we always had really close games. I mean, there was my first year at Mount St. Mary's, we got the playoff win, and just an incredible crowd. I mean, it's one of the best wins of my lifetime, and I really talk to people about that. First season, able to get our team. I think the year before, our team only won 8 games. That year, we were able to get to 18 wins. And that was really a game that really established who we wanted to be within the Northeast Conference. The energy and the energy and the excitement of the crowd to be able to be on a road team and to be able to come in and get that kind of win with that kind of poise is really unique. And, it's something that I've tried to be a part of at every step of my career, is that ability to go on the road and have a poised team in an incredible environment. And so I'm excited to be on the other side of that this time, and to be trying to apply that pressure to our opponents.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you on this side of it as well. When you look at the team this year, obviously you guys had 2 great road tests against Siena and Georgia Tech to start the year. Just talk about what you guys were able to take away from those 2 games.
Yeah, well, Siena, you get a chance to have nine new Bulldogs making their debut. That's going to be an environment where they're going to be a little bit excited to play, and so you just want to be able to get through that and help those guys sort of settle in, and also compare yourself against a really good team. I mean, Siena's picked to win the MAC, and we're going to be right there in the America East and competing for that every single year. And so you want a young team that's gaining experience to learn what that looks like and what that feels like in that kind of environment. So that part was excellent. And then you want to go on the road. I mean, the type of teams that we want to beat through the course of our time together, and especially in March, are teams that are in the ACC and these Power 5 conferences. And so you want those guys early in the year to get a feel for that, to know what the game feels like, to know what the environment is like. I think it's, my experience tells me that, the ability to test yourself against the very best early in the year matters so much, when it really matters, when the time is at its biggest. So, it's a great opportunity for us to compare ourselves and that to be in a position where we have to aggressively learn who we are on the pathway to becoming who we want to be.
Absolutely. I think a name that has really caught a lot of people, early on in this season has been Tim Radofsky. He has had
Yeah.
double-digit scoring efforts in both games of his collegiate career so far. Obviously, he's a freshman, but he's 21 years old, so he has a
Yeah.
little bit more basketball experience. Just talk about what you've, liked from his contributions, so early on into his career.
Yeah, he's an excellent player, high IQ basketball player. He's only going to continue to get better as he continues to learn, playing college basketball. And, one thing with the age, it brings some body maturity, but you need the minutes on the floor to gain some experience. And so we're trying to get him as many minutes as possible against as many different opponents. And, I've loved the fact that he's been able to come in and be completely fearless, taking some big shots for us and making some big plays for us defensively. He's a guy you love to coach. I mean, he challenges you because he's so smart as a basketball player, and he challenges you because he has such great ambition of where he wants to become. It's been great to watch him get off to a great start. And, I'm looking forward to watching some of these other younger guys start to step in as they get more comfortable. And I just think it's going to be an unbelievable compliment to one another when all these guys are kind of playing at their very best.
For a player like him with the physical sheer size that he has and then the
Yeah.
ability to, shoot the ball from the perimeter, what do you feel like the ceiling for a player like him can be in this league?
I think Tim and I think we have a few players on our roster that have a chance to be, some of the best in the America East. And I really do believe in our talent. And, early in the year, I don't look too much at the score, so to speak. It's more about the process of what we're doing and how we're building it. And really impressed with the shots that Tim's been able to create for himself and create for others, and been impressed with his ability to play defensively, jumping into the passing lanes. Those are things at 6'9.5". If you have the ability to do that, you really separate yourself. And something that we haven't seen outside of the lob to Quincy the other day was his incredible passing ability. Radek can really pass the ball. He's a guy that can play on both sides of the ball. So, again, he's not fully settled in yet. I'm excited for the opportunity for him to be able to do that. And, we've had a long list of really good freshmen through the years. And, it takes a little bit of time for others. And it's good to see that he's kind of settling in a little bit sooner.
Yeah, speaking of Quincy, I know that
Yeah.
he's someone that we're really excited to see, get to the chase on this Wednesday and see what he can do there. Obviously, like we heard during the Siena broadcast that he hit, I think like 7 threes or something like
Yeah.
in your guys' scrimmage against SNHU. I know that he's still trying to get one to fall just at this point, but for you, what do you think are going to be some of the keys to really getting him unlocked through these next couple games?
Yeah, in our blind scrimmage, he had 9 threes and 9 rebounds. I don't know how many guys in the country have the ability to be able to do that. And for him, it's really just about getting settled in. I mean, I think the ability to get him the ball in spots where he can go be aggressive, and understanding that he's still a very young player in terms of his experience level. I think he's still under maybe 50 games for his career. We had a metric at the Mound in Siena that we used where we wanted to get guys between 45 and 55 games to kind of identify who they were as players. So he's still an emerging player, and I think that can be really scary because when he really starts to figure it out and gains consistency, again, not many guys in the country can make 9 threes and get 9 rebounds. Now he's got to turn around and do that when the lights are on. But he certainly has some huge games at Chicago State where he did that. So we're doing everything we can to help him get comfortable so he can go be aggressive. And again, I think the compliment that Ty Tabalas and Tim and Quincy have together, I think that's a really special quality. And it takes time for three dynamic players like that to learn how to play together. We're doing everything we can to get those guys really comfortable.
Yeah, I heard you. Speaking of Ty as well, I heard you talk about him during your media availability. Just in terms of what he's going to be able to bring to the table. Just how excited are you for his potential?
Yeah, everything about Ty Tabalas is special. His poise, his understanding, his ability to hold himself accountable, and to handle the really tough stuff. His ability to be coached hard, but also come out and represent himself at the highest level. Again, his plan was to go to prep school, so we got him here at the beginning of August, and he's rapidly working and attacking this thing. So I'm excited about the progress he's been able to make. I mean, I've had some very, very, very good freshman point guards. And, when I look at Ty Tabalas, I really believe that he's ahead of schedule. The results might not show it yet, but he's ahead of schedule in every kind of way. And he's a guy that once he figures it out, he's going to go with it. And his leadership and his voice and his demeanor, those things are only going to continue to get better. And again, he's ahead of the curve on that. And when that kind of all comes together, it's going to be pretty scary.
We mentioned at the beginning of this interview, just just a couple minutes ago, that men's basketball is returning to the chase for the first time in 8 months. It's an exciting time Just what are you thinking when you're looking at this game against Dartmouth? What do you see as some keys to success against them? Now getting the chance to see the film and look at them.
Well, Dartmouth's one of the best teams in the Ivy League. They got some of the best players coming back. A guy on the NBA draft boards. They're going to finish top 4 in the Ivy League. Now they're going to move the ball great from side to side. They're very well coached, and they're going to play aggressively. And they're going to really challenge us transition defense wise because of how they're able to push the ball. And we're going to challenge them with how we offensive rebound. So I think it's one of those games early on where we get a chance to test ourselves again against a very good team and a very good opponent. Which gives us some difficulties of things that we've got to learn to adjust to. And I love these kind of games. I love these kind of battles where, it's a kind of battle where like our style is either going to win out or their style is going to win out. And the team that has the most kind of resilience to be who they are and become who they are. I think it's a great early season matchup for us, and it's going to really challenge us. And I believe we're going to challenge them.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck this Wednesday. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Go
Take
Bulldogs.
care, Coach. Go Bulldogs. All right. Well, that was head men's basketball coach Jamion Christian joining us on the program. We're going to take a short break. When we're back, we're going to be joined alongside by women's basketball forward Nia Scott. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to 990 WBOB. Welcome back to the Bryant Bulldogs Sports Hour. Brian Kostiw, Tom Harkness, talking to you on this Monday night. We're about to be joined alongside by our second guest of the evening, but before we do that, we just want to pay the bills real quick. Tonight's broadcasts are brought to you from Sprout Co-working for all your co-working needs, large meetings office for a day, working remotely, events, or just trying to get away from the distractions at home. Sprout Co-working in Providence, Rhode Island is the place for you, the official co-working home of 990 WBOB. And now joining us on the Sprout Co-working phone lines is Bryant women's basketball forward Nia Scott. Nia, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, Nia. Well, first of all, congratulations on a 2-0 start to this year. Obviously, you guys have defended the home court very well and had some very convincing wins at home. Just talk about what's been going well for you guys just at the start of this season.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the congratulations. And I feel like this season, we just feel like we really have something to prove. We have a lot of talent on our team this year. And we just want to go out there and show everyone what we're made of and that we can be one of the top players in this conference.
Yeah, I think something that's really impressed, myself and then a lot of other people watching you guys has been the resiliency of this team and also you guys' ability to close. I know that in that game against CCSU, you guys had a 25-point fourth quarter, and then against Cornell, you held them to single digits in both the first and fourth quarter, and you guys have been really solid, especially down the stretch. Just what do you think has led to, that particular success being, so good in those late game situations?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the prep that we do. I mean, in practice every day, when we get to the end stretch of practices, we really emphasize like keeping that same quality that we started with. And even like starting the game just how or finishing the game just how we started is a really big key for us.
Absolutely. When you look at your own personal performance, I know you had a double-double last time out against Cornell, and you're averaging around 13 points a game right now. Obviously, for yourself, just what has been, kind of the keys to your own personal success? I know the team has had, their own, success and things like that, but for you personally, what's kind of been going well?
Yeah, honestly, it's just honing in on my defensive side of the ball. I'm a really big defensive player, and I know that's what my team needs from me, and the offense just comes with that. I mean, I think all of our girls are doing what they need to do, and it just gives me the opportunities. So.
Yeah, when looking at that defense, I know that you've been a part of a really big trio down low with you, Rose Nelson, and Miranda Nyborg. You guys have been absolutely dominant on the boards to start this season. When you're working with a trio like them, what's it like, trying being on the same page with them and everything's kind of clicking right? Just talk about that.
Yeah, so obviously this is me and Miranda's second year playing together, so we've gotten to understand each other very well, and our chemistry has been very good. And then just bringing Rose right in with that, obviously she's a very experienced player, and knowing that when I come off the court, one of them has my back, and we're all just rotating in and out for each other.
Yeah. It's really been special to watch. It's been a ton of fun to see from you guys, obviously, when looking at this past game against Cornell and then, looking ahead to Marist, just talk about some of the, things that you guys have been trying to improve on, just the little things.
Yeah, so definitely, again, like just really honing in defensively. Obviously for us, like defense wins games and defense travels. And this being our first away game, just kind of trying to keep that consistency off of our home court.
Yeah, I know you guys ended up making the travel trip today. Just how was that, first travel trip out of the way? Just, everything go well on that end?
Yeah, no, really good. I think we're all excited to play somewhere else.
Absolutely. I know that you guys are looking forward to playing out in Poughkeepsie. It's going to be a ton of fun. I mean, obviously, this Marist team had your guys' number last year. You guys are going to look to try to get back at them this year and try to get things going against them. Just when looking at that, from that past year to this year's, what are some things that you might try to take away from, that last game and, apply to this one?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like we're a very different team this year, and we have a lot of new components that are going to be really key for us. So I feel like just putting all of that together and understanding the game plan and really sticking to that, and we should be good.
Yeah, despite you guys being a different team, though, you guys have a ton of team chemistry. I know that your entire starting five is all returners, and it's been, it's been great to see them all kind of work together. Just talk about what it's been like seeing that team chemistry of this group really kind of establish that this season. I know obviously there were some new pieces last year, but it seems to be a lot more established with at least the starting five. Just talk about what it's been like having you guys really establish that chemistry.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, all of us have been together for 2 years now, and me, Mia, and Martina specifically for 3 years. So we've like really gotten to know each other, and that's been really important. And we've just tried to bringing all of the new girls, our freshmen, our transfers, and bring them up with us and get them on the same page. So I feel like just on the court, getting to play together a lot has been a major key for that.
I know that there's sometimes a little bit of, there's always a difference in the times in terms of the team mentality each year. I know that even when you have so many returning players, just what has been, something that's been a little bit different with the team chemistry this year as, compared to previous years.
Yeah, honestly, I think a huge thing we've been focusing on is just being tough. Like, we just want to be the toughest team that people want to play against. We want to be that team that everyone's like, oh, I don't want to play Bryant. So I feel like focusing on that and being relentless on the court has just kind of changed our mindset and made us that much better.
Absolutely. I think just like when looking at that, it's been really special to watch. You talked about bringing in those newcomers, making them feel welcome. How is that? How do you guys try to, do that on your end?
Yeah, it's definitely just a lot of confidence boosting, and seeing the reps in practice, like getting people comfortable on the court, playing new people with returners and getting everybody to know each other. I feel like if you're comfortable and confident, it's going to show on the court and it's going to translate.
Yeah. And then obviously when you look at this past year for you guys, like you're coming off your team's first America East semifinal appearance, and it was a great run for you guys. Obviously, I know that you guys want to obviously achieve more, but just talk about what it was like, that learning experience and being able to bring that back with, the returning group, everything like that. Just how has that all been?
Yeah, honestly, it's been like a very big like revenge for us. Like, we feel like we could have made it farther last year. We want to prove that this year. So I feel like we're all on the same page with that and getting everybody else to understand what we want to accomplish this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nia, we want to thank you so much for taking the time for coming on the program. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Take care, Nia. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that was Nia Scott of the Bryant women's basketball team joining us here. Tom, obviously we had talked about, the women's team a little bit earlier than this in your show, but just give me some of your thoughts on just what you've seen from them so far.
Let's see if I got this working now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Tom.
Unfortunately, I didn't have the mic volume turned up, but like you said, Brian, a nice start to the year. And I know that we were talking about Nia earlier, as you mentioned, averaging a double-double through the first two games and part of a fantastic front court. So really looking forward to checking out some more women's games this year. Unfortunately, schedule was a little crazy last year, but I did get out to a couple. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting out to a few more this season. That's the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, I had a chance to go watch them this past Friday night against Cornell. And like I had mentioned in the interview with Nia, I think something that really impressed me was their ability to have that second half kind of resiliency, because against CCSU, they were, I think, trailing by, upwards of 16 points at one point. And then against Cornell, they got off to a pretty dominant start against them, but then they let them back in the game. I think, it got down to even, close to a 5-point game or something like that in that game. And, from there, Bryant was able to, learn from that, and they were able to go on a run and make things happen, which was really awesome to see. And I think that when you look at this team, that's going to be something that they're going to need to, really hone in and learn on. And I think that maybe last year they don't have that kind of resiliency. And I think that having that experience of going to the America East playoffs, playing a team like Vermont, and knowing what it's going to take to beat them, I think that they know that they're going to have to, be willing to, step on some throats and go for it every now and then. And I'm excited to see what they'll do here. I think that, like I had mentioned with Nia Scott, she's been an incredible, player for them being here the past 3 years. She had mentioned Rose Nelson as well, who's a transfer in from Fordham, and she's been really exciting to see. I got a chance to watch her in that game on Friday night, and she was kind of a do-it-all player for them. I mean, she had 6 points, 5 boards, 3 blocks, and then 2 steals in that one. So it was kind of a Swiss Army knife, was all over the place. I remember she made one, layup going underneath the basket and was able to get it to drop, and showed incredible toughness. I think at one point she might have lost her contact in the game and was able to sink a free throw. And, she's an incredibly tough player for them. And I think having that kind of depth off the bench is going to serve them incredibly well, because I think that was maybe kind of the thing that bit them in the past couple of years. But I think when you look at what that starting 5 has of Mancini, Rubino, Nyborg, Scott, and then Boba, and then you look at the bench with, Jada Gira, you look at Izzy Adams, who has been looking very, very solid to start this year. You take a look at Abby Lindsay, who comes in from UMass Lowell, a conference rival, and she's getting quality minutes for this team. They have a chance to really be like 8 or 9 deep on this roster, which I think is going to serve them incredibly well, because, at the end of the season, attrition starts to set in, things like that start to get to you. And, that's when you're going to need these, depth pieces to rely on. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do there.
Brian, you made 2 really good points. One, attrition sets in as the season progresses. And then 2, sometimes the best experience is trial by fire. You get to that stage in a playoff game against a team like Vermont, and you ultimately figure out what you have to do going into the next year. So, with the depth that they have and with players like Nia, I certainly think that's the sky's the limit for this Bryant women's basketball team.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about trial by fire, Tom, like, when you look at someone like Izzy Adams, who in her first game, had 2 turnovers in 8 minutes, like there were some, hiccups there. And I think that in this past game, you started to see kind of what the potential for a player like her could be. And I think now that she's like, all right, starting to kind of, get that, get the jitters out, everything like that is all done. It's exciting to see what they'll do from here. And I think that someone like her could be a big contributor for this team. I think Jada Gira, who sunk her first 3-pointer in her first game, if they can get exceptional depth with their guard play, it's going to be it's going to be a very interesting team. And I think that Lennon Kokoski has a very exciting roster on her hands.
I couldn't agree with you more, Brian.
All right, well, Tom, listen, we're going to head off to a quick commercial break. When we're back, we're going to be joined alongside in our 8:30 segment, as always, with head football coach Chris Merritt. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Bryant Bulldogs Sports Hour on 990 WBOB. Welcome back to the Bryant Bulldogs Sports Hour on 990 WBOB. Brian Kostiw, Tom Harkness joining you here tonight. Listen, it's going to be a great time when we get Coach Merritt on the line. We're going to be having him on shortly. But Tom, listen, we got a ton to talk about with the Bryant football team. They just picked up their 3rd win of the season and picked up their 1st win in CAA conference history. So it's going to be exciting to talk with Coach Merritt about that. Obviously, it was a very tight game against Albany, kind of a nail biter towards the end, and it all came down to a block field goal at the end by Marist McMiller. And, Tom, just an incredible game with things, kind of pulling their way. Just when you look at this game, and it's a good turning point for this Bulldog team who had, had some shortcomings in previous weeks, and it's exciting to see them finally get the job done here.
Brian, I just couldn't agree with you more on what you just said. As you mentioned, they've had a couple rough, tough losses, really. I don't want to say rough, but more so painstakingly close ones. You think about games like the Brown game, right? They had a big opportunity to win that one, and then Brown just kind of took over late. And then, I mean, it's a great feeling for the Bryant football team. Happy for them, like you said, their first CAA win. So congratulations to Coach Merritt and the entire team there, and the resilience they showed. I mean, it's just a next man up mentality with this team right now, Brian, and that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Tom, when you look at, you speak of resiliency, and there's a ton of it, especially that came out in this game. When you look at, for example, Jaden Kiefner, who took over for Brennan Meyer earlier this season due to injury, he goes down due to injury, or at least has to leave this game. and Ridge Dotricall comes into the contest and converts 2 fourth downs, throws the game-tying touchdown, and was, just absolutely incredible for him to come off the bench cold and do that. I know that they had some earlier games in this season kind of splitting the role, but for him to come off cold and do this was absolutely incredible.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, it looks like we might have Coach Merritt joining us shortly. We're going to be waiting to get confirmation on that. But Tom, before we do that, just wanted to say, incredible game for them. Can't wait to get going there.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brian, and I'm excited to hear what Coach Merritt has to say after that win. I'm sure it feels good for him.
Absolutely. Well, we have Coach Merritt joining us on the program now. It's joined to you by the Sprout Co-working Expert Hotlines. Coach Merritt, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, Brian. How are you? Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you all right, Coach. How you doing?
Awesome. Good, man. Good.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we wanted to congratulate you on your first CAA win in program history. We'll just start tonight with your opening thoughts.
Yeah, we felt that this game was going to come down to field position, and it was going to come down to who made the fewer mistakes. And sure enough, it was good. It felt good on the way the guys finished the ball game. All three phases contributed to it, whether it was the defense getting the turnover, the offense taking the lead, special teams blocking a kick. Those are all the things that we got to do to win ball games, and man, it felt pretty good.
Yeah, special teams was a key for you guys in this one. Obviously, McMiller with the big blocked kick. And then you look at freshman Nick Stojanovic, who converted 2 big field goals for you guys in this one, including the game winner. Just talk about what it's been like for him, getting the chance to step up and, and make plays for this team in these 2 games.
Sure. Nick is a true freshman. Nick didn't think he was going to be the kicker to start off the season, but circumstances changed, and all of a sudden, you're in there. I always tell the guys you're 1 play away, and sure enough, he is. I know he went in and banged one off the uprights earlier in the ball game, which was tough right before half. Would have tied it up, but it was good to see him come back in the second half and bang another one home there at the end to take the lead at the end. And the more he kicks, the more confidence he gets, and the better he's going to get.
Absolutely. When you talk about that resiliency, you look at, obviously when Jaden Kiefner goes down in this game, and Ridge Dotricall, who comes off the bench cold and was able to convert 2 fourth downs and throw the game-tying touchdown. Just talk about what really impressed you with him on that drive.
Sure. Well, I felt, we didn't win the turnover battle. We didn't win the explosive battle, so we had to find other battles to win. I think that penalty-wise, we only had 3 5-yard penalties the whole game, so I thought we played pretty clean. But offense was 4 for 4 on fourth down conversions. And, it doesn't matter how we got the fourth down. We didn't play great to get there, but we got there. But the kids executed, and they all came up with big plays. And Ridge came in and threw a couple dots, which gave us the opportunity to win the ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, when you look at someone like that, just how tough is it for someone like that to come off the bench cold like that and execute in that kind of a situation?
Oh, it's definitely not easy. You're not warm. You're not into the flow of the game. You haven't taken a game rep in been almost a month. So he came in and was prepared, and he didn't. He did what we want him to do: get the ball out of his hands, and didn't take sacks, and stuck it in the end zone.
Absolutely. Someone else who was able to get in the end zone, this past Saturday was Zaheem Colick. It seems like it's, almost an every week occurrence. And he had a 68-yard house call in this one. Just talk about what, with him, he's been able to, have success now with, 3 different quarterbacks throwing his way. Just talk about what it's been like, how impressed you've been with him being able to get on the same page with all these guys.
Well, he's our field speed guy. He's the guy that's going to take the top off the defense. When we got to get a deep shot, he's the one we're throwing to. He had a big one last week. Nice deep ball for us down the middle. And then the prior week, and then last week, Saturday, he had the deep bomb that pulled us, got us on the board, pulled us within striking distance, and we sure needed that. We're going to need that in these last 2 weeks of the season.
Absolutely. And as you guys look ahead to one of these last 2 games, it's against the University of New Hampshire, obviously a good program there. Just talk about some keys to the game going against that one.
Yeah, they're a blue-blooded CAA member. They're in the top third of the conference. We know we have our hands full. They've got a really good athletic quarterback. This is going to be a field position game. This is going to be one of those games where we have to win the battle of the field position. We can't turn the football over. And our hope is to keep this a low-scoring, knockout, drag-out affair. And if that's the case, then we have a shot. We've played similar opponents comparably, so I feel good about it. However, they did throttle Monmouth pretty good last week. All of 3 turnovers in the second half by Monmouth. But, it's what we can't do. We can't turn the ball over to them.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we're going to go in just a second, but I have one last question for you. I think it's the one that everyone's interested in knowing. What's the Panera order?
I got a couple of steak dippers waiting. I got a wife that I owe it to. It was her birthday Saturday, so.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in tonight, Coach. We appreciate you sticking it out and getting on the program with us. We wish you the best of luck against New Hampshire. We'll talk to you soon.
Anytime, buddy. Take care.
Absolutely. Take care, Coach.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was head football coach Chris Merritt joining us remotely from Panera Bread. Obviously, wanted to do some good investigative journalism there, Tom, and make sure we got that all covered. Just, love Coach, love getting him on the program, and glad that he was able to pull out the win on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And like he said, much deserved. Got to keep the wife happy too. So I'm glad that he's going above and beyond as a coach, as a husband. Seems like a good dude.
Great dude. I mean, listen, you love seeing guys like that have success, and I think that he's a great guy. Obviously, being able to get these guys motivated week in and week out, and these guys have shown a ton of resilience. And the fact that they were able to get this thing done, it was great to see. And I think that when you look at everything that maybe hasn't gone their way this year, their definitive QB1 out of camp has been out for multiple weeks now. And, they've had, they now have a freshman kicker. They have different guys that have, had gone down with injury. They've had close losses here and there. And, there's plenty of teams that could just look at this season and just say, it's not our year. We're going to pack it up. It's okay. Like, we're going to go home now. And that happens to a ton of teams, and you could have almost expected it. But, there has been a good resiliency with this group. The fact that they're still going out every week and competing. Every time Coach Merritt comes on this program, he's always saying that, if they lose, it's not great. Like, we don't like it, but at the end of the day, you got to, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go out there and play the next game. Like, it sucks, but you got to go out there and you got to forget about it. And I think there is an admirable quality about that, where it's like, they're not holding these wins or losses. I mean, win or loss, like he said about the UMass game, they get their first FBS win in program history, and he ends up telling them, and he ends up saying on this program that he was like, yeah, guys, like, it's nice. You can think about it for the rest of the weekend, but after that, you're not talking about it till December, because that's, it doesn't matter now. It's on to the next game. And it's always been that mentality with him, which has been something I've always, respected with that, where it's like, yeah, you can be pissed off, you can be angry about it, but you got to get on with it.
Brian, there's nothing more admirable for me than resiliency. And like you said, I don't think that anyone would have necessarily blamed the Bryant Bulldogs if they kind of packed it in the way things have gone. Like as you mentioned, with Brendan Meyer getting hurt, and then Jaden Kiefner goes down. But I mean, Ridstolt's call was great. And think about, you mentioned at the top of the segment, Brian, guys like Zaheem Kalik and Tristan Riley and Elijah Elliott. I mean, they keep showing up. They keep putting the pads on, and they're fighting it. And it starts at the top. It starts with guys like Coach Merritt, and the resilience that they show just radiates throughout the team. And you get wins like this. You feel good about it. You treat yourself just a Panera. I love it.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Panera Bread is not an official sponsor of 990. Would, not opposed to them becoming one, but just doing our investigative due diligence there. But Tom, listen, we're going to be going off for a quick commercial break real quick. When we're back, we're going to close this thing out with head men's soccer coach Ruben Resendes. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. You're listening to 990 WBOB. Welcome back to the final home stretch now of the Bryant Bulldogs Sports Hour. Brian Kostiw, Tom Harkness joining you here on this Monday night. We're about to get into our final guest of the evening. But before we do, we just want to say that to join the WBOB team this fall, watching your Bryant Bulldogs at the Chase Athletic Center, single game tickets for Bryant men's and women's basketball are now on sale at BryantTickets.com. For more on the Bulldogs, listen right here to the Bryant Bulldogs Sports Hour on 990 WBOB. And now for our final guest joining us tonight on the Sprout co-working phone lines is head men's soccer coach Ruben Resendes. Coach Ruben, how you doing tonight?
Good, doing great, Brian. Thank you. You caught me like 10 minutes past my bedtime, so if I'm yawning, that's why.
No worries. Well, first of all, obviously, it's been a great season for you guys. You're just now set up for your for an America East semifinal matchup with UMass Lowell. Just take us, through your reactions to, this regular season and where the team kind of stands now.
Yeah, obviously happy to be where we're at. In the conference, we would have liked to be one spot higher. We always want to, be the best, to be honest. But the main goal at the beginning of the year for our team is to be in the NCAA tournament. I think I said this to you last time we spoke when we were about halfway through the season. And whether that means, winning the conference championship or getting an at-large bid, we always want to be in a position to compete for a national championship. So we feel good about where we're at in that sense, but now we're into the next phase of the season, which is the playoffs, and we're in a good position here to get a home game in the semifinal and compete for an America East championship here for the third time in 3 years. We won it in 2023. We lost in the last 5 minutes last year, and the guys are really motivated and hungry to get back to the final for a third year in a row and hopefully lift the trophy again. So we'll take it 90 minutes at a time, and Lowell will be a tough game on Wednesday.
Absolutely. I know that you mentioned, with the goal of getting to the NCAA tournament, whether that be an at-large or a conference championship bid. With you guys in your current standings in the United Soccer Coaches poll at number 6 in the country, does that change anything with your guys' approach, and how you guys attack this playoffs, or is it still kind of business as usual?
No, I mean, again, like just thinking realistically, like obviously we feel good about where we're at, for the NCAA tournament. But I think at this point it's also about wanting to get home games and seeding and how many home games you can get if you keep winning, and all that stuff matters. All that stuff matters. You try not to, that's not, the day-to-day conversation with the players. The preparation with the players is just the next 90 minutes. I know it's cliche and it's boring, but it's just the way that we live, and we engrave that in each other's minds. But as a coach, you're thinking about those small details, and they matter, and it's our job to kind of think ahead like that. So, but like I said, right now the thought is not on the NCAA tournament. That our head was there all season during the regular season, and now it's postseason play. So, we're just focused on the semifinal and trying to get back to the championship game, and then we'll think about the NCAA tournament once the conference tournament's finished.
Absolutely. Obviously, looking ahead to that now, obviously, you guys had a fantastic regular season. I know that you guys, in terms of your goal differential, was some of the best in the country. You guys were excellent on defense, only allowing 8 goals all season. Just, talk about how that dominance really all came to be.
Well, I guess, a little bit is just because of our mentality, because I think we've given up 8 goals too many. And we actually said that as a group today in the film. We just said, like, if we want to go far in the playoffs, we got to be a little bit better defensively. We got to rely on our goalkeeper and our backs to continue to keep shutouts and do it in high level games against really good teams. And everyone we play now is going to be good, So if you make a mistake, people are going to capitalize. So had a tough conversation with the entire group today, and specifically speaking to our back line and our defensive players. And I'm a firm believer in defense helps you win championships and helps you make runs in the playoffs. And even though the offensive guys get all the credit. So, and I think, to answer your question, like, that type of mentality is the reason why we're at where we're at. It's just because it's really never good enough. And that's not just me. It's also the players. If you watch the game against UNH, they're a really good team. I know they're right around 500 this year, but they're a strong team. They're about they're still in the top 50% of Division One in RPI. And we went there, we won 2-0. And at the end of the game, players weren't, celebrating or anything like that. They were walking up to each other and having individual conversations and talking about, tactics and how we could have been better. And I said to the guys after the game, that's the sign of a good team, is we didn't walk off the field and shake each other's hand and give each other hugs. Like, we did that, but at the same time, you saw the 14, 15 guys who were in the game, speaking amongst each other about how we could have finished the game a little bit better, because UNH was kind of taking it to us a little bit at the end. So again, to answer your question, I just think we have really, really high standards, and that type of mentality is the reason why we've scored a lot of goals, and we haven't conceded much compared to the rest of the country, but we feel like it could be better.
Absolutely. Obviously, I know you have that team first mentality with everything, and it's all about the team. But there were some, some individual players and things I wanted to just discuss with you. Obviously, one of them being, for example, Abdel Talabi, who has been here, prior to your tenure here as coach, and has been a tremendous player throughout his time here at Bryant. When you came in here and got to see him, and have him be a part of this group, what kind of, talk about the impact that he had from the time that you got to see him?
Yeah, I think Dell's been he was a captain technically, I think, before we arrived. So,
Yeah.
He definitely played a large part in his leadership, in helping connect the staff to the program, and he really bought into everything we've been trying to do here since the beginning, which helped translate to the rest of the team and the guys that were here before we arrived. I think that really helped set us up for a great season in 2023. And in terms of just him as a player, he's really improved a lot since he's been here. I remember being so on top of him our first spring here when we were working with the guys, just in so many areas as a player. And I think he would tell you that, he probably thought I didn't like him very much, but the truth is we just saw that he had so much potential. But we rode him pretty hard, and I think he would tell you now that he's thankful for it, because he's in a position where he's getting a lot of professional interest, for after college, and he's having a great season. And then the last thing I'll say about him is he's a really selfless person, which makes him a great captain. He just wants what's best for the team. His first season here with us, he played his natural position at center back. He was an all-conference selection. And then the following year, which was last year, we got off to a up and down start. And we were like, hey, man, sorry, we got to move you to forward if we want to compete for a championship. And so he's like, well, that's crazy, but whatever you need. So he played forward all year long, and helped us get to the championship game. And then this year he's been, spending time at center back and right back, which is not a natural position for him. But again, just speaks to his character, speaks to his leadership, his selflessness, and just a really, really important part of our success and an important part of our team. So it'll be tough to lose him here after the next few weeks. So, like I say to the team every day now, is we're fighting for time. We're fighting for more time together. It's not just about winning titles and winning games and trophies. We want to spend as much time as we can with this senior class. They're a special group of guys, and every win just means we have more time together. So that's kind of a little slogan we have with our program right now, is just fighting for more time.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one of those special players of this group has been Mark Batarch. I know he's been, absolutely phenomenal since he's been here as the school's all-time points leader. He's been, you can't say enough about him. Just when you talk about what he's been able to bring to this program, and he's been here throughout your transition, to this level and helping, this team. Just talk about what he's meant to this program.
Yeah, same thing. I always refer to him as like a gentle giant, a big teddy bear. He's just, he's a really big guy, and someone that defenders don't like to go against, but he's just an extremely good person. And I think our program is full of really good people. But when you have some of your most influential players, like Abdel in the back and then Mark up front, and they're some of the best humans on your team, just in terms of how they treat people on and off the field, not just their teammates, but people around campus, people in the community. It just it speaks volumes to who they are, and it helps set the standard for the rest of the team and the behavior that we're looking for in the day-to-day standards. But again, what he does on the field speaks for itself. But I think that it's just important to note, how important these guys are to us in the locker room and off the field as well. And I think that, that's the reason why we're doing as well as we're doing, and we've done as well as we've done over the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about those next 90 minutes earlier in our discussion, those next 90 that you guys will play is against UMass Lowell. Just give us some of the keys to the game against that. I know you guys had a 3-0 victory earlier this year, but just talk about what the keys are going to be in this playoff match.
Yeah, working on that a little bit right now. We got a little bit of film here in the background. UMass Lowell Albany, so that's why my eyes are drifting as I'm talking to you. No, again, Lowell's it's a great matchup, I think, for different reasons. Just they're a good team. They play like us. They're very skillful and attack minded. They like to keep the ball. So, as a program that likes to play like that, and as a team that likes to play like that, we enjoy going up against teams that like to play us straight up, because most of the time, and it's okay, like it's a strategy, but most of the time we play against teams that are more defensive and they just want to sit back on top of their box and play for corner kicks and free kicks and counterattacks. And sometimes that can be a bit boring, not necessarily for us, but for just for the fan that's going to watch the game. But UMass Lowell is a team that they go toe to toe with everyone they play. They play, and they've proven that. They went to Vermont and gave them their only blemish in the conference. They tied them 0-0. Kyle, their coach, has done a great job there. So we're expecting a team that's hungry and motivated, believing that they can go all the way, and we're excited for the challenge. We're excited for the challenge. We want to play against the best and prove that we can be the best in doing so. And I think it'll be a great game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck in that game. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Brian. See you. Bye.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that was head men's soccer coach Ruben Resendes joining us here. Tom, I know that we are up against the clock here, so I just want to thank you for manning the 1s and 2s tonight. I know Matt was out, so I really appreciate it.
Brian, it's a pleasure. Anytime you need me to fill in, I'm more than happy to do so.
Absolutely, Tom. Well, we thank everyone for tuning in tonight. We're going to sign off now, but we'll be back next Monday. You're from Brian Kostiw and Tom Harkness, though. You're listening to the Bryant Bulldogs Sports Hour on 990 WBOB. Take care. We'll see you next week.